Welcome to Clocking the Gallop viewers and all our followers. And it is live racing today from the Vaal. It's all racing up the straight today on the turf track. I say turf, but both tracks are turf, as we know, at the Vaal. One is on the classic track and one is on the main Vaal track. And Neil, not lots of rain. In fact, I messaged Lucky Hoodalakis quite late yesterday to find out what the position was, because it stormed at my house during the course of yesterday morning and some part of the afternoon, but only 1 millimeter of rain fell at the Vaal yesterday. So they've only had a total of 11 millimeters. The track condition comes up as good today up the straight. In terms of the false rail, on the inside of the track, it's been moved 10 meters in. So they're not running right on the inside. It's 10 meters in from the 1600 meter mark through to the 800 meter marker. And then from the 800, they'll fan out basically to use the entire width. So there's no running rail on the outside of the track, no false rail, should I say. So from the 1600 to the 800, there's 10 meters and then there's a cutaway. And from 800 onwards, they use the entire width of the Vaal track. Now
we've had that before. What did that mean, draw-wise? Can you remember?
No, it all depends on the day, Neil, and where everyone goes. But my tendency, if there had been a lot of rain, would be to follow the high draws up the straight.
Yes.
But I think we'll just suss it out as to where they go in the first couple of races to know where, because they seem to congregate and move together as a group. And the beauty about it today, Neil, with what's going on, is that we'll be live streaming later from Lance Michael's soccershop.bet offices, and that'll be a great thing for all our followers to see where the draw is, and we'll be able to tell them what our thoughts are after the running of the first couple of races.
Yeah, so what I thought today, Nico, is an exercise for our punters, because a lot of punters have been saying, as you've seen, that we're doing fantastically, but can we find a banker on the day? Can we be more, I suppose they want it to be more specific, which is never easy, obviously. But what I thought we'd do is start, for example, right? We'll start with an imaginary, for us it's going to be imaginary, well, it might not be, we might use it, but an imaginary balance. Let's say we're going to start the day with $2,000, right?
Right.
As we go on, we're going to be specific about, right, we're going to put 200 Rand on this in the first race, using, hopefully, Lance Michael soccershop.bet's value play.
Okay.
So in other words, Nico, if we like horse Rock the Casbah or something in the first race, right, and it's 5-2, you say to him, can we have 3-1? Can you give us the stretch? And if it is, then we put the 200 Rand on. So you know what I mean? So as we go, then somebody actually watching the live streaming, if he wants to, can follow us, do exactly the same thing on whatever denomination they want, instead of 200 Rand.
So we're going to start with a balance and see whether we make a profit on the money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Which means probably, now that I'm tampering with it, it probably means instead of getting 8 winners, we won't get any, but we'll try.
Yeah. Anyway, we've had a great run, and congratulations, by the way, go to our Cape Town team, of which you headed up for yesterday's meeting. I have to say, between Ravon Smith and Shaheen Shaw, they were in magnificent form, and they again tipped many winners on. I think 5 outright winners out of 8 races, including the last race winner, where Shaheen was very confident about What a Man. And in fact, I said to him on the group that we've got, you are the man, because he really was very, very confident about the last one.
Yeah, he was almost nonchalant, wasn't he? He just said, what a man, went for it last time, and it'll win here. Boom.
Yeah.
So, they were both in good form, and early on the card, where Sheen, the first 2 races, wasn't at his best, between Ravon and myself, we found the first 2 winners. We were both very bullish on Captain Lizzie. Is he Captain Lizzie? What's that horse called? Something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, Nico, the first race of the day, I mean, when I looked at this, I just said, look who's running, Grappler. And oddly enough, we're back at soccershop.bet. I mean, how this got when you were there last time, I don't know. So the Tarry Yard, and well done to you, because you called it on the weekend. You said they were going to be back.
Yeah.
And boy, were they back.
Yeah, I had the feeling that they'd come back. That one horse was scratched that I liked quite a bit. And I just had the feeling that they would come back to form, and I messaged Sean Terry at the end of the day to say fantastic stuff, because he'd been going through a hard time, and it's hard to keep your head up and your wits about you. But he is a professional, and he is a champion trainer, and well done to him. So yes, the horse they have to beat in the first race is definitely Grappler. It got Lyle Hewitson on. If it's ridden as badly as it was last time, it ain't going to win. But you have the feeling that is the horse to beat. Look at the 400 to finish time, Neil. 21.8 seconds was doing. I mean, how it got to within a neck of Aaron at the line was beyond me. I mean, I went on about it. I'm still going on about it, how poor it was. But I think it should be the horse to beat today. The interesting horse in the race for me, though, is number 2, though, Conetra. And I say that because he's been gelded. Any horse that's been gelded, you have to re-look at to see maybe he's got the improvement in him. And this horse ran only 4.5 lengths behind the well-bred and the good-looking Bartholdi last time out. And I think at 10-1, that could be the value in the race. And you might want to put in the 3 Rock the Casvar. You usually go for this horse. I don't know what your thoughts are on Rock the Casvar today.
I don't know why I always go for Rock the Casvar, but after I've done the card, I end up singing the whole day. There's a song that it's not called Rock the Casvar, obviously, but it goes, I think it's called Rock the Dance Floor, actually. Yeah. But I end up wandering around the house singing Rock the Casvar, Rock the Casvar. Yeah. So I think it's Rock the Dance Floor. But it always catches my mind. I like the name. I think it's in the mix, Nico, but I agree with you with Conetra because he has got a sprinting pedigree. Yeah. And yes, he was beaten almost 6 lengths by Vars Vicky, but as you know, I like that again on the weekend, and I think he's a nice horse. So I think that you might be right for the place value anyway on Conetra. I'd like to have a look at him going down to the start. He's got that Quarari and Captain Al bloodline. So I think interesting. You and I perhaps at 10-1 found the value for the swinger in any event. I respect Rock the Casvar, but you're right. Grappler last time. I mean, any further improvement in the yard back in form. Any money for South Boy, the first time at Gavin Garina for Lawrence Vernon?
Yeah, so I tried to look up what the pedigree on this, Neil, and I couldn't find anything about him. So all I know is that it opened up at 18-10, Neil, and he's drifted to 5-2. So he's one that I've written here betting support. If there's betting support for him, and again, it depends on what he looks like, then we'll obviously take that seriously. But at the moment, there is no betting support for him in the market. So we'll take a good look at that. I think he's the best of the first timers. And just quickly to add, Al Qasim, number 5, is also being gelded. But the booking of Nathan Klink is a question mark because he doesn't really ride for that stable. He's had a few rides for them. I know that the Alamites are on, so it is a gin strike. So we'll wait to see. But there's to see what's going on with him. Maybe there's betting support for him, and there has been a little bit, but we'll wait to see. Grappler, it's Grappler or anything there.
Yeah, well, the Grappler I agree with, but I'm certainly thinking the value is with your horse a place. I'm going to have a good look at him on the way down to the start. If I like what I see, then I'm going to go for some places on number 2, Conetra in the first. Nico, the second, now we're talking fillies and mares over 1,000. What was your take on this one? Because there was some sudden improvement from a horse like Sky Kingdom. The last 2 improved. Country Mile went the other way around. He had 2 very good starts and then a poor run last time, but that was against winners and quite decent winners as well. So yes. I suspect those 2 will be runners. Yeah. But 2 Mice of the Baby's been expensive to follow. But she could also, she's been rested for 58 days. Maybe that would have done her a little world of good. What do you like?
Yeah, so all those 3 you mentioned have got chances. By the way, 13 Moggy Sky is a scratch here, is out, and 8 Zulu Warcry's got a tongue tie on. Neil, again, I'm very much in the camp of Sean Terry with number 12 Magic Choice. I went back to the first run, Neil. I tipped Theatre of Dreams that day. It won at a huge price. But Magic Choice was having her debut, and she absolutely flew up. And then the next time she ran was when the stable was starting the slump. Had excuses, kicked the back gate and was slow. I'm in Magic Choices camp. Yeah, I think it's a first choice for me, a weak first choice, because I think there are challenges. Again, not the best of prices, but as I said to you on Saturday, the moment the Terry stable win, you're not going to get the prices. You're not going to get the 7-2s and the 4-1s about these horses. You're going to get the 18-10s and that sort of thing. So, but I see that it is at 7-2 actually here. It is at 7-2. So she is my first choice, Magic Choice. And I think that with Hewitson and with the blinkers on for the first time, that she's the horse to beat. Sky Kingdom, I rate. Country Mile, Neil, hasn't run for 7 months. But but with the booking of Lorena for Maroon, that's got to have a chance. And then My Sugar Baby's got the blinkers on. That is a change, by the way. Blinkers go back on that one. I thought that had a chance. And then the horse that you mentioned last time out, Rollaway Tackler, the 15. I don't know what to make of her. I think she's an improver, and I think she may run into place. And I don't like her to challenge for a win, but I think she's definitely going to improve from 9.5 lengths back. But my first choice will be Magic Choice.
Well, I'm happy to go with that. I don't particularly like the race. It's the first leg of the bipod. Would you bank her in the bipod, or would you do a Shaheen Shaw maneuver and go bank a 12 Magic Choice and then cover a few?
No, I'm going to take my chance and bank her, Neil.
Okay, right. Well, there you go. Bold choice from Nico there. I'm not so sure. I don't know. I mean, I would go bank and cover, because I'd like to put in a couple of roughies. I think the race has the potential shock result to it. There's a horse here called Quick Run, which you liked last time.
Yes, and I was so disappointed in its run that I said I'm not going for that again. That was my viewpoint on
now got Solomon's on, who of course only claims 1.5. Remember at the last meeting I said he's got 1 win left, and I think he had a couple of winners, so he's gone past the 40 win. And I think that is significant coming up later, because I really liked a few Josh Solomon rides, but we're only getting 1.5 now. We're not getting 2.5. So Quick Run. Yeah, I like the trifectas and quartets in this race. So what I'm happy to do is go 12 Magic Choice kind of roving banker, perhaps. But again, I'll wait for them on the way down to the start.
Okay, let's move on to the third race. It's a merit rated 76 handicap, start of the PA, over 1,000 meters at 25-2. I see that number 4, Ramchandani Road, races unshod. It had a half set of Alamites on, but it now races unshod. And Neil, if you'll allow me to go first over here, I've got the value play for you here, which I hope will come to fruition. I hope it's the same as you might be thinking.
I hope it's one of mine.
Sorry?
I hope it's one of mine.
Okay, so my horse to beat over here, and I'm quite confident that it'll run a good race, is number 11, Alex the Great. We've been there before.
Yeah, that's it.
He comes through with just 51 kilograms. He's as big as 8-1. He's my clear first choice over here. He's got a number of ticks from me today, and I think he's the horse to beat. And I'll be taking him at 8-1 today to win race number 3. Dangers. Ice Eater has to have a chance at the top of the weights, though, but has to concede 8 kilograms. I don't think Ice Eater can do that, although I think he's a runner because he's very consistent in his form line. The other horse is Lagatha, the filly, the 6. Lagatha I put into the race too with Callan Murray on. I'm not normally a Lagatha fan, but I think it's got a chance at 7-2. 3 Saviour came into my reckoning too, the son of Vaal, even though he's carrying a big weight with Warren Kennedy. And then Aaron, Neil, the 9, Aaron, who won last time that same race beating Grappler. I think with Mkoli on board, only comes in with 52.5 kilograms, and I think he's pretty quick. He's also goes to the front and may prove hard to stop. But I think all said and done, Alex the Great for me is the horse in the third.
So, Nico, I'm going to totally rubber stamp that. I spent a bit of time on this race, and on a line, multiple lines through Lord Grantham. Alex the Great is a massive runner, really is a massive runner. At 8-1, excellent each way value. And that would be my play. I'm only going to add one more to that, and you can already see that I'm looking for the Naidu yard to be my Shrudies today. A horse number 10, Iron Mike, that I've been following for some time.
25-1.
How much?
25-1.
Oh, what you said, 5-1. I was going to say, good Lord, no. 25-1. Well, there you go. You're not going to get hurt on Iron Mike. Unfortunately, Josh Solomon's is now only going to claim the 1.5. My eyes lit up when I saw he was claiming 2.5. But if you have a look, a couple of times it's been poorly drawn when raced around the turn. 9 out of 12, 12 out of 12, 7 out of 7. So on 2 of those 3 occasions, got the worst of the draw. And actually 1 is maiden from a poor draw. It remains to be seen where the draw is today, because he's drawn 1.
Yeah.
But it's run in a merit rated 80, and it's down 11 merit rated points. So at 25 to 1, number 10, Iron Mike would be my each way play. But Nico, I'm not going to complicate it. I'm with you. Number 11, Alex the Great, the value in the race for sure.
Okay, so we see it very much the same way over there. I'm actually looking at that being my best each way value for the day today on the card. Race 4 is off at 2:05. It'll start off the pick 6. It's 1,000 meter fillies and mares, 88 handicap, Neil. I don't see any changes over here at this stage anyway. And let's throw it over to you first. What did you make of this one?
Well, I got excited when I saw Ulla, because we went for it last time, but then she disappointed us. And in the context of this race, she didn't come up great because she hasn't got an apprentice allowance. So I couldn't go for her. It ended up for me being a real train smash race, Nico. I thought that any one of the following could win. And I'll quickly give you my resume. All of me, you've got to respect, despite top weight, because it's a 9-time winner. It's not my first choice, it's not my first 3. But if it did win, you wouldn't be saying, well, how did that happen? Because she's won 9 times. I thought Freedom Seeker was a very interesting runner.
Yeah,
whether she's going to be ready, Nico, I don't know. But look what she's run behind. Hello Winter Hello, Clouds Unfold, Rio Quirari, who is the new age Snaith sprinter.
Yes.
You know, was starting to be right near Eric the Red. Clouds Unfold needs no introduction. Lucid Trader, who is a very good handicapper. So those 3 are all good sorts. The question is, she's first run on the high felt, she's got 60 kilograms. Do I wait? Maybe she needs a run on the high felt, but I think you've got to respect what she's capable of. Southern Charm is very capable, got the blinkers and Luke Ferraris on, but she's a 3-year-old carrying 58.5. Mind Reader is ultra consistent, so you can't leave her out.
Yeah.
Towards the Sun has got Josh Solomons, yes, only claiming 1.5, but we've seen what Sean and Josh have been able to do together. And look at the course and distance for Towards the Sun. 7 runs, 2 wins, 3 seconds. So 5 out of the 7 occasions this course and distance she's finished in the exacta. And even number 7, CU Tiger, who has got absolutely no weight on at all. She's carrying 50.5, and I think she is much better this trip. In fact, I know she's better this trip. She's been campaigning over 1,100 and 1,200 the last 3. But if you look at a 1,000 meter trip, all 3 of her wins have been over the minimum trip. So I've gone through a lot. That shows you that I don't like the race.
Yeah. Okay, so what's a field race?
Well, I suppose I should say field, because when I asked Nino the other day, he told me I don't like a couple and then one of them won. Yeah. So I would only be leaving out Roxolana, and that's asking for trouble. Ula and Roxolana, I would probably leave out. But my play of the day is going to be a place accumulator, Nico. So I'm actually loading the PA here.
Okay. Interesting, Neil, that all the betting support here, backed in from 2 to 1 to 15 to 10 is number 5, Mind Reader. That's had all the support in the world. So they've lumped on that, and you know,
it's the right horse, isn't it? Particularly if Alex the Great runs well earlier on, then the yard's in good form.
Yes. Look, the horse I thought represented value, and we've been there before, is CU Tiger at 16 to 1. I mean, it for me represents the value. It is 16 to 1, but like you, I think that she'll run. You know, she'll be running on at the death, and she may pick up the pieces here. She ran, by the way. There's a form update because she did run on the 18th of February, so that would have been just 5 days ago, where she ran 7 lengths behind May Queen. It wasn't a particularly good run. Over a bit further than this, she ran over 1,200 meters, but with just 50.5 kilos on her back, if she's running fit and well, I think at 16 to 1 you can't get hurt. But Mind Reader has attracted all the support. There
you point out the fact that it's 6 furlongs. It's not her chop. She's a 1,000 meter horse.
Yeah.
So anything over 1,100 and 1,200, I'm almost tempted to ignore.
Right.
So if you actually have a look at when she met May Queen over 100 meters shorter, which is in the computer. She finished far more reasonably within her.
Yeah.
But, you know, only a length and a quarter behind. So I think that's a runner. And it's not just me. I mean, if you have a look at her run to Roxolana, right?
Yeah.
On the 10th of December, she's down 10 kilograms and she was only beaten, well, basically 5 lengths. So, you know, and Roxolana ran okay last time. So I think See You Tiger at that price. And the same thing with the Mind Reader form below that. On the 29th of December, Mind Reader beat her by 2.75, is up 2 kilograms, but See You Tiger is down 3.5.
Yeah.
And
that's why the value is with See You Tiger. The value definitely with See You Tiger today, yeah. Okay, Neil, let's move on to race 5. That was a trappy contest to go through, but this is interesting because this is a novice handicap, as is the next race. Now, again, we point out that don't think it's a novice plate. Bear in mind the fact that horses are getting their allowances for their rating, and don't automatically think that the horse with the highest rating will win. It's a 1,200 meter novice handicap. The changes here, scratch number 6, Let's Talk. I think that's come out now. Let me just double check that. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's Talk is out. And then I think that's the only change for this one at this stage anyway. Okay, Neil, let's move on to this 5th race. And what did you make of it?
Well, first of all, you're right. The next 2 races, I think, Nico, it was one race that was split because races 5 and 6, they must have had 24 runners. So they split the race.
Right.
Which is why we've got a 9-race program. And that's interesting because when you see what happens in race 5, particularly with a horse like Inherit the Rain, because Inherit the Rain runs in race 5, but then in race 6 is a horse called Harry's Secret, who beat Inherit the Rain by 4 lengths. So, and they're running in exactly the same race. It's been split, but it's the same.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes, it's the same race. So I thought it was an interesting race. Nico, I found a little, well, I hope it's a bit of value. I don't know. With the Jan Janse van Vuren yard in good form, perhaps there isn't any value. But I thought number 9, Corvette Captain, who is going to be the value. I'm never convinced that he stayed the 7 furlongs. But I liked his runs, although they weren't great runs. I liked the fact that he ran in 88 handicaps behind Sing for Nico and Bahika. And this is now a novice handicap, and he's dropped down, Nico, from a 85. I just want to check that was his highest. Corvette Captain was an 85 down to a 67. So what's that? 18 merit rated points. That's quite a drop for Corvette Captain.
Yeah, and it has been money for that. 5 to 1 into 4 to 1, Neil. So it's not tremendous value.
No value then.
It's 5 to 1 into 4 to 1. They are betting 3 to 1 the field. Number 5, Informative, is the favourite at 5 to 2, actually, with number 3, Bella Black. They are joint favourites at 5 to 2. Yeah, no, I can have that. Corvette Captain. I think I can have that. The value for me in the race, actually, Neil, is number 8, the Villa Grand, from the Matchett stable. I know it's a filly and whatever it is, but she comes in with a lightweight too, and I thought she had a bit of improvement to come. I see she's at 10 to 1, but I do respect the stable companions. I thought Paul Matchett had the key to the race, actually. He's got 3 runners, and all of them, Bella Black, Informative, and the Villa Grand, I think have got chances. And I thought if Paul Matchett, this was Matchett's race to lose, really, rather than to win. So, yeah, that was where I came in from. What do you make of Captain's Reward at the top? Because I see there's been a bit of money for Captain's Reward, the mare.
Well, I think that's because Sean's in good form, and you have to respect her, I suppose. But she's obviously had her issues. She's a 5-year-old mare. She's only run 6 times. And here she's got to ship a lot of weight around. So not for me, Nico. No, not for me. I mean, you're taking a bit of a leap of faith there, which could happen because the Tarry Yard, when they're informed, will win with the stable cat. But
yeah,
no, not for me, Captain's Reward. Informative, I would be very bullish on, except for we're once bitten, twice shy with him. We made him our best bet, value bet, the day he ran behind Spring Break. And not that it helps because we didn't get the money, but that day he was 20 to 1 and he went off 8 to 1.
Yeah.
So we could take some solace in the fact that we spotted the value, and that's not a pun on number 2, by the way, who's solace in this race.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit once bitten, twice shy with Informative, but he's the right horse. I mentioned that Corvette Captain has come down 18 merit rated points. He's come down 22 merit rated points. And I think today's his day. So for me in the PA here, I'm going to go quite tight. I'm just going 2 horses, 5 Informative and 9 Corvette Captain.
Okay, I like the matched runners here. I think base your play around the matched runners here and Neil's Corvette Captain in race 5. On to the 6th race, the second part of the novice handicap over 1,200 meters. Clarice number 2, or Clarice number 2, is scratched, as well as number 9, Fantasy Flower, who nearly eventually won for us the other day, and well picked. We mentioned Fantasy Flower in a big way, so well done to us. Bitter Win number 6 has a tongue tie on, and those are the changes for the 6th race. And this was open again, another very open race. You mentioned Harry's Secret. I thought again the horse to beat for me on this one was Paul Matchett's number 4, Battle Force, who's a 3-year-old up-and-coming son of Active War. We know how well the Active Wars have been doing, but how do you see the 6th race going?
So I got a question mark with Battle Force. I think he could be the right horse, but I got a question mark over the draw because he's going to be drawn 11. So we just got to check that, you know, you're not completely dead on the outside. The same with Speechmaker, who's drawn 10. But if, and there hasn't been that much rain, so you should be able to win anyway. If that is the case, then he's going to certainly have a chance. But, you know, he's got to give Harry's Secret 1.5 kilograms. And what I liked about Harry's Secret, the problem is he's in and out a little bit. Although I suppose you can't be hypercritical about the last run from Harry's Secret. It was an honest enough performance. He finished within 3 lengths of Galactic Warrior, who's a multiple winner and a very good handicap sprinter. But the key to Harry's Secret, is he back to that earlier form behind Mount Pleasant and Al Mutana, and for that matter, MK's Pride? And I think he just might be with Smunger back on board.
Yeah.
Smunger's ridden him once, and that was very impressive. So I think of the 2 3-year-olds, I might be leaning towards him. Having said that, Nico, there's horses further down the handicap. Louis VII has dropped down 27 merit rated points, which is why he's suddenly being competitive. And then here, I actually like the stable companion to Battle Force, Procrastinator, a little bit, who ran behind Malmoose and Sweet Sensation. And he, I think, will be competitive for 52.5. Yeah. So I don't particularly like this race. I mean, the earlier novice handicap, I went just the 2 horses. Here, I'm going to go a little bit wider. I've got to respect Putin's Promise, who I think is not a 7 furlong horse. I think the 6 furlongs is much more his game. And it's not just a thumb suck. If you look at the course and distance for Putin's Promise, he's run twice and he's won once and run second. So I think this is his game, sprinting. And then, of course, you know, Irrevocable Dream, who I gave the ghost up some time ago, has dropped down 23 merit rated points. He's going to pop up at some stage. And the Alec Laird yard has been in decent enough form. So I'm going a little bit wider in the PA here, Nico. I'm not convinced about anything here.
Okay, it's a wishy-washy race. As I say, I agree with your thinking of Paul Matchett's Procrastinator, which I went for last time out, and you know, you can see where it ran. 3 lengths off Galactic Warrior. I thought he was a big runner last time out, and I'm prepared to give him another chance. I thought both Matchett runners 4 and 8 were chances. Harry's Secret, I agree with you, and I agree with you with Louis VII, funny enough, because I think that he's bound to pop up someday. So 4, 5, 7, and 8 were my top 4 there in race.
Nico, just to add, I mean, simply on handicapping, if you like Harry's Secret, as I said, I do, because, you know, that was pretty impressive when he won over this course and distance, and Smunger rode it. But purely on handicapping through Galactic Warrior last time, in that race was Procrastinator, and if you go and look at the 2nd of February, he's a 1.5 kilograms better off for having been beaten only half a length. Yeah. So Procrastinator, he's probably not as good or as consistent, but he could get closer to Harry's Secret, and actually should.
Yeah, no, I agreed with that. And there's value in that at 11-1 Procrastinator. Harry's Secret's at 7-1. So there's definitely value there. The 7th race is a merit-rated 104 handicap up the straight to 1,400 meters. Captain Aldo, who's 10, rising 11, has blinkers and a tongue tie on. And then 7 Nordic the Rebel, who's often slow away, Neil, loses his races at the start, races with a compression mask. Now, from this race onward, it's all yours, because I had some stomach cramps last night, which I couldn't bear with. So from 7, 8, and 9 is purely on you. I might give an assessment. In fact, if people tune into the live stream, I'll have had a chance to look at them. So I'll give my assessment of those races a bit later on if you do join us during our live streaming from Lance Michael's place. But 7th race, Neil, it's all yours. What do you make of it?
Well, thank heaven number 8 isn't called Pain for Nico. It's called Sing for Nico, because there's nothing worse than really. So I'm glad you're up and about, but it's not pleasant at all. You're right about Nordic Rebel. Remember last time, I think a lot of punters liked it, and I said, the problem is you just do your money at the gate. And that's what happened. I mean, he just stood again, and I know he's only 2 lengths, but you know, the momentum and the position you lose by not getting in the race. So Nordic Rebel's got the same problem. I mean, he's got form, definitely got form to be competitive, but your best result is Nordic, away they go, Nordic Rebel stood and lost 2. Your worst result is Nordic Rebel stood and lost 5, which has happened before. The penultimate start lost many lengths, and earlier on in his career lost 5. So as I say, he will lose ground. The question is it going to be 1 length, 2 length, or give himself no chance? So I couldn't honestly suggest to punters to back Nordic Rebel. You do your money in cold blood.
Although quickly, just staying on him, Warren Kennedy is an interesting booking, and he has ridden him before. If you look here, he's ridden him 3 times for a 2nd and 2/3. So he knows about him. The only problem is that he rode him as far back as March 2019. So we're talking 2 years ago. Will he remember Nordic Rebel?
Before he got his bad habits.
You see, yeah, correct. So he rode him all the way back, and he rode him, I'll tell you the distances, Vaal 1600, which was up the straight, I think, Vaal 1450 round the turn, and then Vaal 1500 up the straight. So he has ridden him before, but the fact is it was almost 2 years ago.
He's got no weight really, 54.5, but as I say, I mean, there's nothing worse than doing your money in cold blood. We had that with the one the other day, didn't we? We liked, and we said, that's the only danger, and it stood and lost 6.
Yeah, there was that Binder horse, the Binder horse.
I find this very interesting, Nico, because I tell you what I find interesting is that Rod Becker's tip number 3 put on the red light. And I, as you know, have a lot of respect for Rod Becker's. But I didn't think the horse was particularly well in, and I'll show you the run, which was a Pinnacle Stakes on the 13th of February, which was the last time behind Lady of Steel. Now, put on the red light is 9 kilograms higher, because that day he had Josh Solomon's claiming 2.5. So he's gone up 9 kilograms. Full Mast, who actually beat him by just under a length, is only up 5 kilograms. So Full Mast is 4 kilograms better off, and he beat him.
And he beat him. Yeah.
And he beat him. And he's got Smunga Kamalo back on board. I mean, who is just under, we can't sing Smunga's praises enough. Having said that, I do think the 7 Patriots, the stable companion's a decent horse. He was good enough, deemed good enough to run in the Summer Cup, but I don't think that was ever going to be his chop. He had a tilt of 2000. This is more up his alley. And he basically represents Express from the US, Nico, which is one of your favorites.
Yes, correct. So and he beat Express from the US, giving him weight, which I've rung over here, which is very interesting. Yeah.
So that's what the question I said, I've got to ask Nico. If Express from the US was in this race carrying 60 kilograms, you'd be punting him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which shows me that 7 Patriots has to be in the race. So I actually like the 2 Azzy horses here, Nico. I liked 1 7 Patriots and 2 Full Mast. Full Mast, by the way, loves the course and distance. He's run over it 3 times for 2 wins. And actually, 50% of his victories have been at the Vaal. So he likes the place. So for me, I'm going for the 2 Azzy horses. 1 7 Patriots, 2 Full Mast. I'll put.
You're going for the class. You're going for the class, Neil.
Correct.
You're going for the class horses, and I think I'd agree with that. If I'd studied, I think I'd come up on the same side of you. The only one that I do mention is Nordic Rebel, who's an unknown sort. He can pop up here because he's getting 4.5 kilos from Full Mast and 5.5 kilos from 7 Patriots, and I think he could be a runner. Like with you, I mean, I didn't go to the wedding. I went to all the funerals of Red put on the red light, apart from his win when he beat Rock the Globe, where you went for him, and he was heavily backed. But yeah, Neil. So 7-1, 7 Patriots, 7-2 Full Mast, In Cahoots, by the way, is one of the fancied runners at 3-1, and Nordic Rebel is also 7-2. So I'll be with you. We'll go for the 1 and the 2. In fact, of the 2, I probably do prefer full mast there. Okay, Neil, let's move on to race number 8 now. It's a merit-rated 88 handicap. It's running at 25-5. It's over 1,400 meters. Interesting here about this horse, Oscar Wilde, Neil, which we went for last time, and we knew we had done our money when we'd studied the race, and then the steals got put on. So no Alamites again for 7, Oscar Wilde. Races and steel shoes. That's the significant change in this race. And number 5, Trendmaster, races with a compression mask. I'm interested to find out what you like in this race, because there was quite a bit of money for a horse that I liked here. And as I said, I didn't study the form, but I remember tipping him last time out. But what do you like in the 8th?
So this is my favorite race of the day, because I think there's value to be made. I'm going to take Box Swinger, Box Exacta, Box Trifecta with the following horses. And that sums up what I like. So if you've got a pen, here they are. Number 6, King's Archer. He's going to go in. He was a 100 at one stage. And he's never won over this course distance, but he's actually never missed the first 4, oddly enough. He's never won, but he's never missed the first 4. So I think King's Archer, down from a 100 merit rating to a 83, and Paulie takes another 2.5 off. So that's 17 merit rated down. So he's got to go in for me, although he is a little bit high in the weights. And then Nico, the last page, I like all 4 of these runners. Ice Lord, to me, okay, we don't get again Josh Solomon's. I must adjust this, because last night when I was studying, I forgot that he was only -1.5. So Josh Solomon's only -1.5, but Ice Lord, massive runner. Greek Fire, Nico, career-wise, down from a 106 to a 77. And I know he won last time, but sometimes those victories give horses confidence, because he hadn't won for so long. And he was fairly treated. He only went from a 72 to a 77. So I think he could be competitive again, Greek Fire. And then Stop for Nothing. I respect him off 54 kilograms. He's been drawn relatively poorly the last 2 times around the turn. You'll see on the 2nd of August, he was drawn 13 out of 13. And the 17th of September, he was drawn 10 out of 13. He's up the straight here, so that draw won't worry him. And then my value play is the last one, and that is going to be my value play. I don't know what price he is. I hope you're going to tell me he's a big price. Number 14, Psycho King, who comes in with absolutely no weight. And I spent a lot of time on this race through Crank It Up, Nico. There's a lot of Crank It Up form, including Ice Lord. And earlier on, there was another horse. I think it might have been actually Oscar Wilde. No, it was somewhere else there was Crank It Up form. But in any event, it's probably on this page. Let me see. But yeah, here we go. Stormy Winter and Trend Master. Both of those have run behind Crank It Up. If you've got the time, have a look at the form lines, collateral form lines, and you will see Psycho King with Cole Dickon taking another 1.5 off. Also, the last thing that I like about Psycho King, so I've given you a few things there. Reasonable merit rated drop, The Apprentice, just 50.5, and the Crank It Up form. But I don't think this horse is an 1,800 meter horse, Nico. I think the drop back to 400 meters is going to be significant. So, sorry, that was very long-winded. Those are my horses. In order of value, if you just don't want to box 5 of them, I would drop Stop for Nothing out, I suppose. But 6, 11, 12, 13, and 14.
Very interested to see what you find there, Neil, because that is the power of study. I'll tell you what sticks out at me with Psycho King. If you look back at the run on the 21st of July, he ran in a merit-rated 88, Vaal 1600. He gave Express from the US a kilo and finished 4 lengths behind him, and is down on that run by 5.5 kilograms. That's a massive run. And Neil, it's the biggest outside, or one of there are four horses in the race that are 40-1. And he is one of them.
Yeah. 40-1.
40-1. There are 4 horses at 40-1. There are 3.
Psycho King is 40-1.
40-1. Yeah.
What price is he a place? Because
It's on the
you
site
get
that I'm
4
looking at,
places.
but let me go to soccershop.bet and see what their betting is, Neil, while we have a bit of time over here. I'll
Yeah,
just quickly go there and have a look. But I am on the site that I was on. It doesn't show the place betting on it, but let's go and have a look here.
Nico, while you're there, I want to point out to the punters, he's got Greek Fire. I mean, if you like Greek Fire, and Greek Fire, I relatively, I know he's 6 years old, but I said I think he's found some confidence, and he's still down from 106 to a 77. So he's bringing current form with him. But if you have a look twice at the Vaal on the 5th of November, behind Nimcha and Sell High, the dead heaters, Greek Fire is down 1.5 kilograms. Psycho King, who beat him that day by just over a length, is down 6 kilograms. So he's 4.5 kilograms better off with Greek Fire having beaten him. And Greek Fire has subsequently come out and won. And then again, they met, where was it? They met on the 12th of December at Turfentine.
Yeah.
Greek Fire beat Psycho King behind our Coys, but Psycho King's 5 kilograms better off, which brings him right alongside. And my theory is, not my theory, my assumption is that 1800 isn't his game. I think he's going to enjoy the drop back in trip, Psycho King, especially with no weight on board.
Okay.
I cannot believe Psycho.
Yeah, it is 40 to 1 and 6.5 to 1 a place.
Well, that's my play of the day, no doubt. Psycho King, the value, 6 to 1 a place, and you're getting 4 places.
Correct.
Wow.
I do want to just something's popped up on my radar here.
Don't tell me it's scratched.
No, it's not scratched. No, it was. Sorry, it's not reflecting over here. Right, so that's interesting.
What was they back, Nico? You said they backed something.
Yeah, they backed Bold Jazz, Neil, and I remember we were very big on Bold Jazz, weren't we? The one day.
Yes.
I'm trying to think, did it run that day or was that scratched?
No, that was the day, you remember, that everybody was over Reunion at 1 to 4. And I said it's a race.
Yeah.
People called me mad. I said, this 1 to 4 shot cannot win. And it missed a place. Listen, but Reunion ran poorly. We know someone like Dean Sham says he's going to win the Classic or whatever.
Classic, yeah.
So listen, I respect Reunion. But on the day, but Bold Jazz, Nico, is, I mean, I've got to respect him. As you say, we've always liked it. But I just thought 3-year-old carrying 58.
Yeah.
So he's got to give Psycho King, 7.5 kilograms.
Yeah.
Who's a 4-year-old, you know. So.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's interesting. There's a lot of value to be had there. So, yeah, that's good thinking, Neil. And that's race 8 for you.
Good thinking. You've got to see if it works out. It's not going to be good thinking.
No, I like the way you're thinking. I like the way you're thinking. That's you're on the wavelength. So race 9 is 5:15. It's a maiden plate over 1,600 meters. I don't see any change apart from the scratching of 13 Infinite Wonder here. What interested me here, going back to the Azzy stable, Neil, is the booking of Stradum on this horse Enrico Cicchetti, the 7. He's never ridden it before, but something tells me that he'll ride this one well. And I think, he's a nice free striding son of Gray's Inn. But obviously, I haven't studied the race. I didn't know what to make of it. I'd be looking maybe at a horse like 3 Prince Alf to run a fair race. I don't know what you thought of Prince Alf's run to Malmoose and that. What did you like here?
Yeah, Nico, that's certainly the horse that could really step up here because not only Malmoose, but he's run to Vars Vicky. Actually, I said earlier on it was Vars Vicky, but it wasn't, was it? It was Stone Cold I tipped on the weekend.
Yeah.
So it was,
I thought where we'd be speaking about, we may be speaking about this coming Saturday. Yeah.
No, but I mean, both those horses are nice horses, Vars Vicky and Stone Cold, and they both treated me well, tipping-wise. And Prince Alpha has actually run behind both of them, Vars Vicky, Malmoose, and Stone Cold. So I agree with you, Nico. I mean, I think he will definitely improve. Interesting that you spoke about Enrico Cicchetti. He wasn't well drawn in a couple of his earlier starts. He was drawn 10 out of 12 when he ran second to Sid's Liaison, and then showed pace from a poor draw behind Elusive Swan. Perhaps he hasn't lit up the tracks yet, but I agree with you that Pierre could be an interesting runner. I thought this race would behave. Number 8, Light Warrior's got solid form, so it has to have a chance. Yeah, there was one. What is
And
the
the
first
one, what about
third?
Irish Rain at the number 1?
Yes, I think you've got to respect him, but yeah, I think you've got to respect him. But I actually preferred Prince Alf of the two. I thought Prince Alf slightly better than Irish Rain. I put them all in, Nico. So from a PA point of view, I went 1, 3, 7. So I'm very similar to you. 1, 3, 7, and 8. Light Warrior.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I didn't, as I say, I didn't study this, but interesting to see that Enrico Cicchetti is 33-1.
Yeah, silly price.
And
he could easily run a place.
With the booking of Stratum, I thought that was interesting. Neil, we're going to leave it there. It's not as detailed as normal. Unfortunately, folks, here, I didn't have a chance to study. In fact, I'm still suffering from a bit of heartburn now. But I didn't have a chance to study this card as well as I should have, and I apologize for that. But it's one of those things you can't keep on the ball 24/7. But I certainly do like that earlier horse, Alex the Great, that I'm putting my money on today in an earlier race. Neil, we're going to be live streaming. Approximately what time can the folks join us later on at Lance Michael's place?
Well, we were going to do it at 1 o'clock, but I think we should do it earlier on, Nico, so we can have a look at the grappler. We can have a look at South Boy in particular, that first timer.
Well, maybe about quarter past, 20 past 12, round about there. Quarter past 20 past 12. I think. If people want to join us for live streaming today. Yeah, and hopefully I'll have a bit of a couple of hours between now and then to have a look at it and see what we think. But Neil, thanks for your input. Thanks for the time put in. And let's hope we can keep the oil burning, that chip oil burning that we once went to a tote and had some lovely chips across the road at. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll hope so. Let's do that. And we'll see you later. Feel better.
Yeah, thanks very much. And thanks to the viewers for supporting us. Thanks for all the good comments. Keep on telling your mates about us and subscribing too. Yeah.
One thing, that winning tips guy asked me, he said to me yesterday, I didn't remind them, and he said, I must remind that you are welcome to share when we go on social media, when we tweet. He said, Neil, tell everybody that they can retweet it and, you know, spread it, which we can. I mean, we don't have a subscription. You can subscribe to this channel, but it doesn't cost you any money. So the idea for Clocking the Gallop is to share at this stage. So if you want to send it to a mate, a tweet, and you see this, then please do so. So our thanks to
our number one supporter, our number one, who eventually will get to meet on the show, hopefully one day. Yeah. Well, he obviously loves his racing. I think we should get him on as a guest presenter. If he's any good, he can take over and give us a rest for 3 months. Wonderful stuff. Thanks very much, Neil. Join us later on for our live streaming of today's Vaal racing. It should be a lot of fun later on.